Address something that I was accused of. I was accused of being involved in killing an innocent woman. This is something that's on record. This is something that I took a plea to. I took a plea to it. Chris Pacello took a plea to it. Tommy Reynolds took a plea to it. And some kid, Michael Yamini, took a plea to it. Now, this was an accident that happened. 3 people came forward when this happened. And I want to address it and just clarify it. Tommy Reynolds is doing 50 years for it. Chris Pacello took 15 years old. And she was a cocktail waitress sometime. This woman, Mary Berry, had a father that owned a candy store. He says he went for walks with John Gotti. He's a pity party, low life. And me, I was friendly with him at one time, but I got to find out what he really was. The kid is a low life. The biggest low life you're ever going to find on the paper. Because these guys are trying to change mob history. And
Alright, so I think the person that he was referring to is John Alite, if you're familiar with mob stuff. Basically, I wanted to play that clip because I wanted you guys to understand that Jimmy Calandra is honest about his past. He is honest about crimes and stuff like that. He does make a living from talking about his days as an associate to the Bonanno family, and as an associate to one family, you're going to be privy to members of other families. And Rob from Convict Inc. has a problem with that. He thinks that Jimmy Calandra shouldn't benefit from those stories because he informed. And like Jimmy said, a couple guys got life in prison because of him informing. So Rob, his mentality is, look, why are you benefiting from criminal activity and things that you've done in the past? Once you decided to inform, you totally reneged and withdrew yourself from the criminal lifestyle. Therefore, you shouldn't have anything to do with it. You need to be YouTubing about painting. You need to be like Bob Ross and paint stuff. You know, he's basically saying you should be talking about something else. And he kind of looks at that as a scandalous move. You put people in prison because you gave up the criminal lifestyle. You decided to become an informant because you wanted to withdraw and take yourself out of the criminal lifestyle. But here you are benefiting from the criminal lifestyle by telling stories about murders. You're telling stories about notorious figures in mob history that you met and stuff like that. And yeah, even Rob said that you know, he claims that Jimmy Calandra has a history of sexually assaulting women. So let's well, not sexually assaulting women, but becoming close to it. So let's check this out.
What did Jimmy Calandra do next? What did Jimmy Calandra do next? Jimmy Calandra went to the bathroom and then came out of the room all Harvey Weinstein out. Naked. Girl looks, what's going on, Jimmy? Hey, come here. Now, I am not here to say Jimmy sexually assaulted the girl. What I'm saying is Jimmy Calandra, with the intent of luring an unexpecting female into a hotel room for the purpose of having sex with her, did just that. When the girl freaked out and Jimmy realized that this might not be a good idea, again, I don't know the particulars about what happened right there. There's trauma there still, right down to this day.
You heard that. He said that there's trauma there right down to this day, and Rob is speaking from a position of having sources. So you have to understand that Rob was actually in prison for 20-something years. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it was over 20 years. I think like 26. He says that he first got into Leavenworth in 98, so he's been locked up since like 97, so whatever that is. And he actually, and he's Italian, but he ran with white supremacist gangs. And when I say white supremacist gangs, I'm only speaking of the category. But in reality, most of those guys really aren't white supremacists. They just kind of don't have any other options but gangs that just so happen to be named white supremacist gangs, you know, Aryan Brotherhood, Nazi lowriders, dirty white boys, and stuff like that. So most of those guys really aren't white supremacists. It's just you're white, you come to prison, and that's what's there. You know, you don't have any options. But he became friends with a lot of mob figures in the feds. You know, he came out the federal system. He became good friends with Carmine Persico, Tommy Karate, which is Jimmy Calandra's OG, basically. Tommy Reynolds became good friends with him. And his whole thing is Jimmy Calandra is putting all the blame on his mob friends. You know, he's basically trying to say that he was a good guy that got caught up in the mix. He did some bad things. He admits to a couple of things that he did, but Rob feels like he's not being completely honest with the people. I think Rob wants him to say, hey, you know, even though my friends, Tommy Reynolds or whatever, they killed innocent people, I was just as guilty because I was rolling with them and I agreed to it. It's not like I was an innocent bystander. I was shooting people too. I was involved in that lifestyle. And I think that Rob really wants him to just say, when I got locked up and I realized that I was facing life without parole and possibly a death penalty, I informed. He wants him to stop saying, I changed my life because the mob, I disagree with the morality of the mob. I didn't like the fact that the mob would actually use you to kill your best friends. You know, they know that you grew up with this person since childhood, but they will get you to kill that person because you're the one that can get close to him. And he said that he left the mob because he got tired of that mutiny, he got tired of that lack of integrity, and he got tired of that that backstabbing in general, you know. And Rob seems to think that, you know, hey, it had nothing to do with that. You just didn't want to do life. It's that simple. And I kind of, basically I'm a fan of both guys. You know, both guys are doing their thing. They're on YouTube. They're free. They're not committing crimes, and that's a good thing. I just kind of look at it like, you got to understand that Rob just got out of prison last year, so he still has the mindset of a prisoner, pretty much. You know, he's been in society so far for less than a year, you know, maybe right at a year, and he just came home from doing like 20, well, whatever it is, since 1997. So you got to understand that Rob has that mindset of a prisoner because he really just came home. So he hasn't had time to really become civilianized. And I'm pretty sure things like ratting and informing bothers him to the point where he feels like making videos about it. So I'm a fan of both guys. I understand where they're both coming from. I understand Rob just got out of a 20-something year bid. I understand that he still has that mentality of not respecting rats. And like he said that Jimmy Calandra is basically the equivalent of a chomo because he ratted. And I don't know. I mean, how do you guys feel about this? How do you feel about guys who informed on people, but when they come home, they make a living off YouTube, they get documentaries made, and I think Jimmy Calandra's in the process of making a movie about his life. How do you feel about the fact that these guys actually benefit from criminality in their criminal past and telling stories about others' crimes, but they renounce the criminal lifestyle when they decided to inform? Rob feels like they shouldn't be able to benefit from it. Guys that stuck to the code, guys who didn't rat, they should be the ones benefiting. So, I don't know. I understand both sides. Peace.